This is lesson 4 of anatomy and physiology. Today we're going to be looking at muscle fibres. As always, I'm going to complete the booklet on the left hand side of the screen. The slides that I would use to deliver the lesson will be on the right hand side of the screen. So straight in with the do now, which is page 23 from your booklets. There's 2 performers on the screen. If we're unfamiliar with the term muscle fibres, maybe just look at the types of movement that these 2 athletes do. How are they different? If we do know things about muscle fibres, can we characterise them? How are the different muscle fibres different? And how are they used in sport? Again, you can pause this now if you're going to have a go at this yourself. I'm just going to jot a couple of ideas down in the booklets. So just to go through some of those answers. So again, we'll come into muscle fibres a little bit more in this lesson, but just as the difference between those 2, we've got a performer that does very, very fast movements. Components of fitness, so linking to component 3, will be things such as power and speed. And then how that will be used in sport will be to get to the ball quickly. For the other performer, maybe some slower movements more linked to endurance, and that will be useful to run a marathon without fatigue. So what we're looking at in today's lesson is how are different muscle fibres used in sports. So for us to be able to do that, we need to be able to identify the different types of muscle fibres and then outline some characteristics of each one. So turning the page onto page 24 in your booklets, we've got 4 sections that we're going to complete. So today's a little bit shorter than some of the last lessons. We're just going to complete these 4 sections. So working at the top part now. Voluntary muscles are made up of bundles of individual fibres. So these are all the muscles that we labelled as part of the last lesson where we looked at the skeletal muscles. Each fibre contains myofibrils, which are strands that grab onto each other and pull to make a muscle contract. So on the image you've got here, you can see how the muscle's been broken down. So these very, very small strands are called myofibrils. There are 2 types of muscle fibres. They are slow twitch and fast twitch, sometimes referred to as type 1 and type 2. We have both types of muscle fibres in our bodies, but we have them in different quantities, and this will affect what sports we're naturally good at. So whilst the video is playing, I'm just going to add a little bit of information. We're going to complete these 2 sections next, but the video is going to go through a couple of examples of each. Just to be clear here, the type 2B that they refer to in the video, we call type 2X.
Within skeletal muscles, there are 3 different types of muscle fibres: type 1, type 2A, and type 2B. Each fibre type has different qualities in the way they perform and how quickly they fatigue. Type 1 muscle fibres are also known as slow twitch fibres. They are red in colour due to the presence of large volumes of myoglobin and mitochondria. Both of these are important for transporting oxygen in the blood. Therefore, type 1 muscle fibers are very resistant to fatigue and are capable of repeated low-level contractions through aerobic metabolism. For this reason, the muscles containing mainly type 1 fibres are often postural muscles, such as those in the neck and spine, due to their endurance capabilities. Also, athletes such as marathon runners have a high number of this type of fibre, partly through genetics, partly through training. Type 2A fibres are also sometimes known as fast oxidative fibres and are a hybrid of type 1 and 2 fibres. These fibres contain a large number of mitochondria and myoglobin, hence their red colour. They manufacture and split ATP at a fast rate by utilising both aerobic and anaerobic metabolism. As a result, they produce fast, strong muscle contractions, although they are more prone to fatigue than type 1 fibres. Resistance training can turn type 2B fibres into type 2A. Type 2B muscle fibres are also known as fast glycolytic fibres. They are white in colour due to a low level of myoglobin and also contain few mitochondria. They produce ATP at a slow rate by anaerobic metabolism and break it down very quickly. This results in short, fast bursts of power, but with rapid fatigue. This type of muscle fibre can be turned into type 2A fibres by training. They are found in large quantities in the muscles of the arms. For more information,
So, I'm going to go through what was in the video just in a little bit more detail now. So again, filling out first of all the bottom left section of your booklet. So the first one is slow twitch muscle fibres. Now, or type 1 muscle fibres. So these are darker in colour because they contain a lot of myoglobin, which is a pigment which transports oxygen to the muscles. This means they have a good oxygen supply, which is necessary to supply energy to the muscles. They contract slowly and they can work for long periods of time. And the examples mentioned in the video were endurance events such as cycling and running over long distances such as marathons. And then next we have fast twitch fibres. I did annotate a few little bits of information that went through there. So these are lighter in colour, as they do not use oxygen to make energy. They work much more quickly, but also tire more quickly or fatigue quickly. There are two types, and they're sometimes referred to as 2A or 2X. Again, the writing could either be like that or like with the 2, so don't get confused with what they are. These will be more suitable for sprinting and long jump, or anything where it is a little bit more explosive. Just to go through what she mentioned in the video as well, type 2X are our most powerful and most explosive bursts of energy. So I'm just going to add this information underneath, which may be worth doing the same. So 2X are the most powerful explosive movements, but they're super quick to fatigue. 2A are kind of like trained versions of 2X, so these will last a little bit longer. And that is through training, particularly resistance training, that's allowed them to last that little bit longer. So if you were looking at a sprinting example, the burst out the blocks, the initial kick off the blocks would be 2X. That's going to be the most explosive movement. And then the 2A is going to carry them through the rest of the race. If you look at the long jump as an example, the run up to the jump would be 2A, and then that one burst of explosive power to jump off the block and jump as far as they can at the end of the run would come from 2X. Then the next bit is just to look at the keywords and just join up the definitions. So you've got all of the words written there, we just need to join them up. So the first one is muscle fibres contain myofibrils which make up skeletal muscle. The muscle fibres are what we talked about in the picture just there. Type 1 muscle fibres are the slow twitch suited to low intensity work, as they can work for long periods of time without fatigue. 2A are your top ones, which are improved through training, and they can increase their resistance to fatigue. Your 2X is your fast twitch that are used in aerobic work. They generate a lot of power but fatigue very, very quickly. And then lastly, your myoglobin is the red pigment that transports oxygen to the muscles. So as a summary sheet, that's a really useful page for us to have all of today's information condensed onto one page. What we now need to do is apply that to an exam question. Now, this is the first time we've had a slightly longer answer question. So we are going to start working on our PEB responses. And if you don't know what the PEB responses are, that is point, explain, benefit, anytime we are given a long answer question where we're getting 3 or more marks, where we need to write extended responses, a strategy from which is recommended by the exam board is point, explain, benefit, or PEB. Because this is a 6-mark question and we are being asked for 2 different muscle types, we're going to do 2 PEB responses to get all 6 marks. So with any long answer question, we need to break down the question to make sure we are answering what it is asking us. So figure 3, which are the 2 images, shows 2 steeplechase athletes running in a race. If we don't know what steeplechase is, it involves running 3,000 metres around a track and jumping over some very large hurdles that have been put out in the track. So it's an endurance event, but it has some hurdles that you have to jump over. So examine 2 different muscle fibre types that are used by the athletes in figure 3 during different parts of the race. So what we would do here to be able to answer this question is we need to make 2 points, 2 pieces of information that we have learned in today's lesson. So the first one will be just to identify a type of muscle fibres. So today this will be easy because we've just gone through this. We'd need to have this information readily available to us that we can call on when we need it. So type 1 muscle fibres are slow twitch fibres. What I would then do is explain that, explain what I mean by that. These fibres contract slowly and are resistant to fatigue. What I'm now going to do is link that to the benefit of performance. So slow twitch muscle fibres being resistant to fatigue is going to help the athlete complete the 3,000 metres. So this will benefit the athletes by enabling them to run 3,000 metres without slowing down. That would get me 3 marks. I've examined one muscle fibre type for one part of the race. I would then pick a different one for the other part of the race. Type 2 muscle fibres are fast twitch fibres. These contract more powerfully but fatigue quickly. Then how do these muscle fibres benefit the performance? These enable the performer to jump up and over the hurdles. So this will be a strategy that we're going to look at in future exam questions. Anytime it's a long answer question, the strategy we go for is point, explain, benefit. For 6 marks, 2 PEB responses.